Today I wanted to talk about going barefoot and how it's changed my life, what it's done for me, and kind of the advantages and benefits of going without shoes. It was something that originally was just kind of an accident that I stumbled upon. Back in 2020 when COVID hit, I kind of went on a road trip. I went to Colorado and I was like, all right, I want to get into hiking and, be more active and get out and exercise a lot. So I bought a pair of hiking shoes, and when I tried them on in the store, they fit okay. But what I ended up realizing was that they weren't the wides, and I really needed wides. They were a little bit too small. They ended up taking off my big toenail. So I was like, well, I can't really hike with those shoes anymore. So I got rid of them, and I was like, well, I can't really hike in any shoes right now because it hurts my toe, what's left of my toe right now. So I was like, all right, well, I'll try barefoot. So there's this little hill in Salida, Colorado that, you can kind of get up. It was a little rough, and it definitely hurt my feet at first, and it got a little hot from time to time. But what I noticed was that I was really enjoying it. I felt like I was a little more connected to the earth. I felt like I was a little more confident with my steps because I could feel where my foot was being placed a lot more than I could with shoes. Shoes kind of lost that sensitivity. So what happened was, over time, I just kept wearing shoes less and less and less. Once I went out to California, I was spending a lot of time at the beach. I was wearing shoes less and less then too. But what happened was I ended up finding this really awesome hiking trail in San Diego County, and the trail is just perfect for not having shoes on. You could hike this thing barefoot all day if you wanted to. Like literally the first quarter mile of it is just beach sand. So it's just like being on the beach. But what I did is I just kept pounding on it. I just kept going barefoot as much as possible, building up the calluses, just building up that resistance to anything on the ground. Yeah, I got a cactus needle here and there, and I don't think I ever got any glass or anything like that. I was always very, very careful when I was in the learning phase. But now I'm pretty much at the point where I do barefoot all the time. I can walk barefoot on sidewalks and concrete. It definitely took time to get there. But what I realized too is, like, once you start going barefoot, you have to keep going barefoot. It goes away pretty quick. This last summer I was back in Colorado and I had to work, so I had to wear shoes every day. So when I first came out here, the first couple days was rough. I actually had blisters on my feet. It was pretty rough. I kind of overdid it, but that's what happens when you've been doing this for a while. But what I realized is my back hurts less, my feet hurt less, my feet don't stink at the end of the day. That's one great thing. When you're wearing just either barefoot or flip-flops, you don't have to worry about the smelly feetness. Now, I understand, people work, they have to wear shoes all day. There's no way out of it, but I do recommend, if you're not working, just keep nothing on your feet. I don't believe our feet should be constricted like that, for one thing. I think it affects our blood flow, but I also think it affects the bottom of our feet too. We lose that toughness and we lose that connection to the ground. And it's like, yeah, we're probably not going to get in a situation where we don't have shoes. That's always possible. But we think about like where shoes came to be. I think the biggest reason people really started wearing shoes was the hot ground, more than anything on the ground that could cause a problem or poke through. It's not like there's cactus needles in every climate, everywhere, that people are stepping in. So I think it was something that was really more for the heat, just to pull the foot off the ground. And we've just gone way out there, and we got the high heels now and these foam bottoms and all these things that are just way opposite to how our feet are meant to be. And it's just really good for your alignment. It's good for the ligaments, the tendons, the bones. It's just, from the top down, it's just amazing what going barefoot does. I also would consider it from a neuroscience perspective, is I assume it's probably really good for the brain and really good for enrichment to be barefoot a lot, because it sends more signals and more stimulation to the brain, and it's not something you're used to. And we think about how many nerve endings there are in the foot. I mean, it's an extremely high number, and I'm sure that really can affect the brain as we're tapping into that more and more often. But what also I've realized is, going barefoot, it's just like my feet are more comfortable. I just feel more free. I don't feel constricted. The heat doesn't bother me as much. Yeah, I'll wear shoes if it's hot and things like that, but most of the time I don't bother with it. And it's really interesting when you're out hiking, because it piques people's curiosity, especially children. They'll either point it out or ask me, and sometimes the adults will actually turn into curious children too. I love that when they do that. They come up, they're like, "You're hiking barefoot? Why do you do that?" And I explain the story to them, and they're like, wow, that's really cool. And it's just, I really want to encourage you to try it. I assume no liability if anything happens, but the thing I can recommend is start small, work your way up. Yeah, try the barefoot shoes. I do like the Vibrams, but I do like the Merrells really well. They've really come a long way with their barefoot style of shoe. But it's just with no shoe at all, just being out there on the ground, on the dirt, the sand. Snow, I don't really recommend. I tried hiking barefoot in the snow, but my feet were ready for that. You can't really make it more than 20 or 30 feet, and things really start burning from the ice. So I don't recommend that. But if you have any questions or comments on going barefoot, I do highly recommend putting something in the comments below. Let's have a discussion more about this. Barefoot is definitely something that's probably still very underrated, but I think a lot of people could benefit from doing it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Have any questions or comments, let me know. Thank you.